Friday afternoon, Cultaholic wrestling news. Andrew, what's the matter? You look concerned. What's
Pablo?
the problem? Yes. Welcome to the news. It is Andrew and Pablo.
What's in the tea? What's happening? What's in the tea? What's going on?
This video is sponsored by Dreamy's Shadow Legends. Subscribe now using the code Pablo. Here is the wrestling news. Plans for Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber have been revealed. We have an update on an injured AEW Star and some backstage details on an NXT Star's new gimmick. We'll talk about that in a bit. So we start with Roman Reigns. We start with Pablo, actually. Just wondering in front of the Pab, any chance we can do some news?
Oh. Can this just be the video for 15 minutes? Oh, good boy. Good boy, Pablo.
Oh, what a lad. Oh,
no.
Come back. Oh, he was feeding. You'll have to wait a minute. Plans for Roman Reigns reportedly revealed this morning by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. We're heading into Elimination Chamber season. What's Roman going to be doing at the pay-per-view, Andrew?
So it seems as though at press time, there was to be a SmackDown match with Roman Reigns defending the title, and it seems as though it's going to be an Elimination Chamber match. And the participants, we don't really know yet, other than Kevin Owens being an obvious one. But we can speculate, Tom, which is what we like to do over
speculation
here.
Forever, friend. So who do we think is going to end up? Because I think the SmackDown title, the Universal title being in an Elimination Chamber kind of makes sense. They do love their symmetry between Raw and SmackDown on these pay-per-views. And since Big Daddy Drew, Iron Drew, is in an Elimination Chamber himself, it makes sense to hoy Roman Reigns in one as well. So from the SmackDown side of it, I know this is normally Sam Driver's territory, but who do we think would be going into that chamber? Obviously, Kevin Owens is a fit. Who else would you put in there, Andrew?
So, I mean, they've been doing so well building up so many different people recently, especially on the build-up to the Rumble that we saw. So I think we could have Big D. Bry in there. Shinsuke
Nakamura would be a good one to get in there, I reckon.
I think Cesaro, because Cesaro's been picking up wins on SmackDown as well.
I'd love Cesaro to be in the chamber. That'd be so good.
And then, like, the sort of, I think it'd be the last one. I'm not entirely too sure about, because I'm like, maybe Big E, put Big E in there.
Big E, I was going to suggest Big E. I think having the IC champion there fighting for the Universal title is always a nice little showcase for the IC title. I don't know what the score is with the Uso boy, with Jey Uso, whether or not he's because I know that he's been absent for a little while, but I don't know what his situation is, because having him in the chamber could provide some interesting dynamic. Obviously, in there to protect Roman Reigns' title could come to a moment, just booking off the top of me head, where you have Roman and Jey as the final two, and Jey has to lie down for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, maybe I was thinking that.
Maybe he's a bit reluctant, you know? Maybe we do that little bit there. But it's an intriguing one. I think that... I don't know how I feel about the Elimination Chamber overall, though, I'll be honest, Andrew. I love the match, but it kind of feels like a speed bump on the road to WrestleMania these days, as opposed to... Because there was a point when you'd have whichever brand won the Rumble... They were sorted, off they go. But then on the SmackDown or the Raw side, whichever side didn't win the Rumble, they'd have an Elimination Chamber to go, right, okay, that one brand's title challenge has been set, let's set the other inside the chamber. And I quite liked that. Like, the way that they booked the chamber on Raw was very lazy. Just, oh, hi, there's some wrestlers. Get amongst it. If they do the same on SmackDown tonight, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel on the old chamber on the road to Mania?
I agree. I think the road to Mania now is just so crowded with so much stuff compared to, like you were saying, sort of years prior and everything. Now you've got stuff, you got Elimination Chamber, and then they throw in other things like Fastlane is in there, I guess, as well. Usually, like, it just does seem so convoluted, as if they're trying to speed up and tie up loose ends that maybe have been floating about, like especially with Drew and Sheamus and stuff. I wanted them to have a singles match together, not
same.
like don't just throw him into a elimination chamber. just out of nowhere. Like, come on. You know,
I love the idea instead of having Drew and Sheamus one-on-one and just have them batter each other, like a match that sort of sets like the bar for aggression between them two, and sort of gets Drew set for WrestleMania. I would have preferred that to a Raw Elimination Chamber. And as for SmackDown, I think that I don't know what it proves having Roman beat Kevin Owens again.
Yeah.
At this point, you know, I'm ready to see Roman pass on through to WrestleMania now and do whatever he's going to do there. But it looks as if that title's going to be on the line in Elimination Chamber, heading into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, rather. Over on the other side, AEW news. Now, there were some concerns about Cody Rhodes earlier in the week. What's the latest on Cody, Andrew?
So it seems as though Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer Radio, that's the one. That's the abbreviation. He's got it.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Thank you. I panicked.
It could have been worldwide orange receptacle, but you did well with WOR there.
Thank you. So he says, I was told that Cesar gave Cody the overhead SOS slam, I think it's called. Cody landed on the side of his shoulder, suffered a minor rotator cuff tear, but it's believed that he'll be fine for the match with Shaq. But he did get injured. So that match is still going ahead, Tom. We were all worried. We were all wiping our brow in fear, just wondering whether this was going to go through. And it seems as though it's still going to go ahead.
We're still getting Cody and Shaq knocking it about in March on AEW Dynamite. How are you feeling about Shaq getting in the ring, Andrew? That's a good review, to be fair.
What? Yeah, I feel like celebrity appearances can go one of two ways, and but I mean, Shaq, he's had some experience in a ring before and in this sort of environment, and I don't know how it's going to go, Tom. All I can imagine is them just going buckets, and it's just like you and Ross when you did your when you did your, was it punishment or what did you, where you were like throwing the balls trying to get each other. Do you remember?
Yes. Oh yes, it was the Cultaholic challenge, wasn't it? When we were doing the slam dunks at the Newcastle Falcons. That was a great Newcastle Eagles. Sorry, the Falcons are the rugby team. Whoa. I mean, a lot of bother with the Eagles for that. Yeah, we could do them slam dunks. It'll be that, won't it? A slam dunky challenge.
Yes.
Featuring Shaquille O'Neal. Interesting to see Shaq get back in a wrestling ring for the first time in many, many years, if you count getting back in. Carlito got back in a wrestling ring over the Royal Rumble. Back as part of the Rumble. He had a match on Monday Night Raw as well. He was on After the Bell with Corey Graves talking about why this return was so important. What did he say, Andrew?
He said, I came back because I just didn't like the way things ended. I didn't expect it to take 10 years to get back, but at least I came back once. I just wanted to leave a better taste in someone's mouth. Everything is on the up and up. Happy to be back and happy to be around. If that was my last time, I was glad to finally get a chance to come back and end things on better terms. And
he is in amazing shape, isn't he?
Oh, my goodness, Tom.
Jeepers, the man is fit as, to quote Ross, fit as a butcher's dog. He's in fine form. Are we going to see him more often, Andrew?
So, he says, as of now, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. I don't know. If the conditions are right, I'd love to come back. That was always my goal. Was to go away, take a breather, and come back. And I very much hope he does, because his match on Raw felt a little bit underwhelming for like a sort of a comeback deal. Like, I wanted him to have a little bit more time, screen time and stuff. And if there's anything that I would like to see more once COVID is in the bowels of hell, gone away, we need at least one more apple spit, Tom, on WWE TV.
Yes.
That's what we need.
We certainly do. Carlito making a surprise appearance at the Rumble. Speaking of surprise appearances, Kenta turning up on AEW from New Japan the other week, kicking down the forbidden door in the process. That term you're going to hear a little bit more of. Why is that, Andrew?
Because All Elite Wrestling has filed trademarks for the terms Forbidden Door and Forbidden Portal with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Ooh. It's merch time.
Now, this is something... Yeah, if it's AEW, you know it's merch time. This is an intriguing issue right now with AEW and the Forbidden Door. Did Tony Khan paid for an advert on Impact this week where he referenced the fact that people always ask him about the Forbidden Door, and he said, I didn't know what the Forbidden Door was until I realised it was me. I'm the Forbidden Door. And Tony Khan now has realised that he is the Forbidden Door, and he says, you know what? I'm going to open this door more often. And it swings all ways. Ooh, misses. And I think that this won't end with Impact and New Japan. I feel like I think AEW might become like this hub for all wrestling. And you know what? If you're going up against WWE, which they are, why not be the opposite of what WWE is and be welcoming and embracing to all these other companies? And doing it that way, instead of sort of building your own territories like WWE do and go, well, we've got these established territories, why not bring them into play with us? And expand them that way, which is I think a great form by AEW.
Absolutely. It feels this is going to be a weird, analogy. It feels like when you've got a bunch of wrestling figures and you just put them all together in one big just hodgepodge, a boiling pot of excitement and possibility, Just the idea that pretty much anything could happen is so exciting. And it's so exciting for us as fans as well, because one week we just might not know who turns up in what promotion, doing what, maybe defending a belt or something in a different place. It is so exciting.
The only issue with hodgepodges of figures is that because they're all made by different companies, I don't know whether you had the same issue, that the Buff Bagwell figure only came up to Hardcore Holly's chest. which hopefully won't happen. And don't even get me started on the Maximum Sweat figures from WWF. That was a weird old time. Old time. Ken Shamrock in the news today, and I'm not sure how much of this is legit and how much of this is continuation of his storyline in Impact. But what's happening with Ken today, Andrew?
So it seems as though that Mr. Ken Shamrock is now accepting bookings. So the following was issued this morning. It says that Ken Shamrock is now available for wrestling events, in-person signings, and virtual signings as well.
Now, this is... in Impact Wrestling, he is suspended. But that's a storyline thing that they're doing. And I don't know how much of this is playing on that, whether or not Ken is considering some more bookings away from Impact Wrestling, maybe moving away from them going forward. But if you are looking to get Ken Shamrock on your independent show, now is the time to do it. As you rightly said a second ago, Andrew, the guy's nearly 60.
Yeah, I think he's 57, and he's still a beefy boy. You were saying as well before that when he came back in 2019, his abs were insane.
It looks like he left the WWF in 1999 and just spent the last decade that's 2 decades fighting in the street, just fighting for every meal, and he just turned up as this war grizzled warrior. It's amazing.
Can we get him in NXT in the fight pit? Do you think Timothy Thatcher would stand a chance against Ken Shamrock?
Ken Shamrock is due a little pop-up around WWF and WWE, rather. But look at me mentioning the Pandas. Long overdue a spot in the Hall of Fame. Long overdue, just some involvement with the company again. And whether there was bad blood between the two, there is no amount of bad blood between WWE and a wrestler that stops them coming back. I firmly believe that. I think Ken Shamrock for Hall of Fame. Let's get that particular cat excited once again. But this storyline could very well be a reflective of... This could be a real-life thing bleeding into the gimmick, or the gimmick bleeding into a real-life thing. Very similar to what is happening with one Cameron Grimes on NXT. Our final story today is some details about this new gimmick that Cameron Grimes has unveiled. He's now sort of like a Southern $1 million man. Yeah. And I loved it when he turned up on NXT, gloating about making millions, buying shares in GameStop and Dogecoin. And we're not far from the truth with this, are we, Andrew?
We aren't. So again, Brian Alvarez saying in real life, Cameron Grimes bought AMC during the GameStop deal at some ridiculously low price, like $13, and then he sold it for hundreds of dollars. So legitimately, Cameron Grimes made a ton of money that week. He does not have more money than Elon Musk. Who'd have thought that, eh?
I know, right?
He may have more money than anyone in NXT at the moment. So,
that's nice. Now,
my goodness.
Our news hound at Cultaholic, Aiden, pop a picture of Aiden down there. He loves it when we do that. There he is. What a boy. What a lovely, handsome boy. Now, he's added a little bit to this. So this is some of Aiden's notes. He says, Alvarez's figures are completely off. What? Fight between Alvarez and Aiden.
I was going to say, fight pit, Aiden and Alvarez.
That's the fight pit right there. Aiden says, like Grimes could have made money, lots of money, since AMC stock was about $3 before, and it peaked at $20.36. He could have made a fair bit, depending on how much invested, but the share price was never near hundreds of dollars. However, he did make a fair bit, but not as much as being reported. So, Aiden sorting the myth from the fact there and kind of sort of calling out Brian Alvarez at the same time. There's still money. Yeah, he still made a fair bit. And I love the fact that they linked that into his character. And I'm up for... I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I want Cameron Grimes to form a new $1 million corporation.
Oh, my goodness. That'd be incredible. That's such a good idea.
The first $1 million corporation was unironically crap. Ted DiBiase leading IRS, Tatanka, King Kong Bundy, and Nikolai Volkov into action, among others. I want him to form an ironically crap $1 million corporation. Or my other idea was, and with the connections they've got with the wrestling world, there's nothing stopping this. I say he funds a bit of a crap faction to come back as like his bodyguards. Ooh. Your instinct would say, oh, he should pay off the APA. That'd be cool. Oh. But maybe bring in the Job Squad.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, Tom.
I think have him do that. But now I've said it out loud, I quite like the idea of Cameron Grimes paying off the APA.
If he's got all this money, more than anyone in NXT now, why didn't he just pay off Evolution?
Oh my
Bring
God!
Evolution back.
Jindrak enters the chat. What? Be amazing. Have yourself an amazing weekend, however you spend it. The Cultaholic Wrestling Podcast up on here later on today, and loads of good stuff happening over the weekend, including live reactions to NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, what happened at, and graded on Monday. Are you going to be watching Vengeance Day, Andrew?
I am. I'm very, very excited for it, Tom. Very excited to sit there on my sofa on my own on Vengeance Day.
Vengeance Day.
Blow little kisses towards Pete Dunne.
Oh, little kisses. Oh, we normally end with love you bye, but can we end with a kiss instead?
We can end with a kiss. Are you ready, Tom?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm going in. Oh, mwah.
Kiss.
Kiss.